Chelsea fans, 4-3-3 is the way forward. We saw it last night. We saw the effect it has. We saw how balanced we look. And hopefully, based on Frank Lampard's press conference today, and a key quote from it, it looks as though that's what's going to happen going forward. We hope. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. Smash the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm getting excited. Let's get cracking. So the thing that we have to remember about this season, which is very different from any other season, is hardly any pre-season. And it's a fact. Whether people like it or not, it's a fact. We normally get 6 weeks, maybe 7-week pre-season where the team can go away for a couple of weeks and really work on and bed down different formations. They can work on them over and over again and get them bedded in during that whole pre-season process. So when it comes to the beginning of the new season, the team can flip between different formations, even in-game, making tactical switches because they've had it drilled into them for so long in advance of the season starting that they're prepared. Frank made a good point in his press conference today where he basically said they're trying to do this at the moment in real time as they're playing games that are coming thick and fast. Every 3 days or so now, between now up to Christmas and beyond, every single week there's a game after game after game after game. Thiago Silva was rested because what was the point of him travelling to Russia 4.5 hours to play Krasnodar, no disrespect to them, to travel 4.5 hours back and then ask him to be prepared and be ready to play Burnley? There wasn't any point. So we understand that. But I think what Chelsea are sort of struggling, and what Frank tried to do against Sevilla and against Man United was to find a defensive balance. We've seen different formations in both games. We've seen 4 at the back. We've seen 5 at the back in those 2 different games. And if anything, by playing the 3 at the back with the 2 wing backs and 2 midfielders and 3 up top, you're sort of negating the real strength of the Chelsea team. And the strength last year was the middle of midfield in Kovacic, Jorginho and Conte. This year, it's what we've got in the attacking areas with the players that we brought in. Werner, Havertz, Hudson-Odoi, Mount, Ziyech, Pulisic. Absolute riches we've got in our team. And it's just trying to find the answers to it, into how you can implement people, what's going to be the best formation. Frank again today was talking about the fact that because we're trying to learn these formations sort of in real time, as the games are sort of happening and coming thick and fast, that you had to just try different solutions to try to cope with the games, to try and make sure you can get the right result. And sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But yesterday, the 4-2-3-1 formation, we played okay. But it just looks a bit unbalanced to me. Because when you play Jorginho and Conte and then you've got the 3 up top, it just sort of seems that when we're out of possession, you're relying on the wingers too much to get back in. And then they're having to come back. And then when we're going forward, we're sort of lacking numbers at times. And Timo Werner, for example, is becoming more isolated up top. So what happens? He drops deep and he comes in to try and grab the ball. And the switch had to be made yesterday. And as soon as that switch was made, it was marvellous. It was just perfect. We looked so balanced. 4-3-3 formation is the way forward. And we can play with anybody. For me, I put it on my Twitter account yesterday. If we go 4-3-3, obviously N'Golo Kanté plays at the base of that midfield. You then will play Kovacic and then Havertz or Mount or Jorginho. Or like we played yesterday, Kanté sitting with Havertz and Mount box to box, getting probably both of them more involved in the game, going forward with their foot on the ball to create and to craft from a deeper position where, let's face it, the 2 of them are switched on. To get the best out of Kai Havertz and to Mason Mount, bearing in mind they're creative players, creative midfielders that like to get forward, play that killer pass, get in the box and score goals, link up with the strikers or the attackers. The best way for me, I think, to get the best out of both of them is in that 4-3-3 as box-to-box midfielders. Forget playing them as a number 10 in behind the striker. If you're playing against so-called weaker opposition, they're going to have more joy. But in games that are against the top 6 rivals or teams that you know are going to be difficult to play against, a la Burnley this weekend, you don't want them playing with their back to goal as a number 10 to drop to pick the ball up, then turn, because they're going to have someone hitting them straight away. These two are so creative, so intelligent, that if you give them the ball in the heart of the midfield where they've got the whole picture in front of them, that's where you're going to get the best out of them, because they can pick their passes, they can burst forward, they can make runs off the ball. It just suits the two of them, Mount and Havertz, so much better. But then you look at Mateo Kovacic, the work rate and the work ethic that he's got to drop in, to make himself busy, to get back and support the fullbacks, the defence, and then burst forward like he does from midfield. He's box to box. And the player of the season has been in and out of the team. And a lot of people are questioning why. But you're going to get the best out of Mateo Kovacic playing 4-3-3. You're going to get the best out of N'Golo Conte, but asking him just to sit in the middle of midfield and sit there. Don't worry about going forward. Now, I was saying in the Sarri days that you can still get the quality of Jorginho in a 4-3-3 if he was the one that played higher up than Conte, because his use of the ball, his control is great. The problem with Jorginho in a 4-2-3-1 or the base of a 4-3-3 is that his tendency is to go sideways or backwards. You don't see a lot of forward passes compared to the ratio to passes played sideways. And that's what the problem is. That's what we need to be more dynamic. And I just think the natural box-to-box midfielders are just going to flourish in the 4-3-3. Not only that, but defensively. The back four have got someone in front of them in the base, which will be Conte. They got two midfielders that can work around that midfield area and also drop into the wide area to fill in if need be. And it just gives them a little bit more protection. But what that also does, it then allows in the attacking areas for two out-and-out wingers to just have the freedom to create and just to express themselves. And when you look at the options that we've got there, in Hakim Ziyech, outstanding performance on his debut, full debut, goal-scoring debut, by the way, took his goal fantastically well. Christian Pulisic comes on, real influence, wins the penalty, the second penalty, which Werner scored, then scores his goal. Also was involved in the Ziyech goal with his ball that was played into Werner. You're giving these players that have got undoubted ability the freedom to go and create, to not worry about having to track back and get back in and defend. Of course, in big games, they're going to do that anyway. But in games such as yesterday, where you just know that we've got the quality, you just know that we can just rip teams wide open with the attacking threat that we've got, you give them that license to play, to express themselves, and you see what happens. No one, after 15 minutes of that second half, thought we're going to win that 4-0. But that formation change and the way that everyone just felt so comfortable by playing it and the problems it caused Krasnodar just shows you that's the way forward. It's got to be 4-3-3. Has to be 4-3-3. You play three centre-backs and the two wing-backs, you're taking a midfielder out of the equation. You play the 4-2-3-1, as I'm saying, you play a number 10, but most of the time playing back to goal. Or then they're playing too far forward and get a little bit isolated from the midfield. This is so much better. And Frank Lampard spoke in his pre-match press conference today on a Thursday, which is quite early, and he gave a real key quote for me, and I just sincerely hope that Frank Lampard sees the 4-3-3 like we all do, and it looks as though that he might just be doing that. Now, I'm going to read the quote. I've got it written down on my pad here. And he said about the performance and about, the switch and the 4-3-3. And he said, there are a lot of things last night that gave me a lot of answers to things I've had many questions on. And there are a lot of positives to it. Now, it just gives you the answers that you're probably going to ask is what gives us a balance defensively, through midfield and into attack. And it's the 4-3-3. It's got to be. I could sit here and bang on about 4-3-3 all night long. I've been saying for years our squad has been set up, and as people have come in and it's changed, it's what the big teams do. Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they all stick with the 4-3-3. Liverpool, it's, think back to Chelsea when Mourinho come in, 4-4-2, and it switched then to 4-3-3, and we just run away with the league. I'm not saying we'll do that again, but it's a formation that just looks solid. It looks balanced. It gives people license to create. It gives people license to go forward. It gives people license just to express themselves. And based on the attacking threat that we've got, surely that's got to be the answer. Let me know if you agree with me. I've been waffling on for 10 minutes now. Hopefully you've watched all of the video and you've enjoyed it. And if you have, smash the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss my videos come out. And let me know what you think about the formation change and what I'm trying to explain about the balance and the freedom for certain players in certain positions. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate the fact that you subscribe and you watch. You take the time to do so. I'm very small compared to some of the other big Chelsea content creators who are above and beyond what I'm doing, but I'm trying to get there. So thank you so much for your support. Have a great Thursday night. See you all tomorrow.